Greetings, everyone. Welcome to episode number 6 of Sam's Science Spotlight. My name is Miss Sam. I'm the children's librarian at the Eastlake Public Library, and today's experiment is called Sinkhole Roulette. Now, what on earth is a sinkhole? Well, a sinkhole is a geological term referring to when holes seemingly spontaneously open up in the earth and swallow things. Here is an example of a sinkhole that swallowed part of a city. Here is a sinkhole that swallowed part of somebody's house. Look at that. It took their kitchen. You can tell because there's their stove or their oven. And swallow up cars. Yeah, sinkholes are serious business, but we are not going to be doing anything serious with sinkholes today. We're going to be having a little bit of fun. And again, the experiment is called Sinkhole Roulette, and it's featured in this book right here. It is called Oh, Ick! The 114 Science Experiments Guaranteed to Gross You Out, and it is by Joy Masoff. So what do you say we put on our thinking caps, gather the necessary materials, and let's go do some science! Science! Now, this experiment may have to be done outside depending on your comfort level with a mess, okay? Because the things that we need for this experiment involve sand, or if you have access, dirt, just ground dirt, and sugar. So and water, those things can be really, really messy. So you may choose to do it outside. I don't have that luxury. So, you know, that's what I have paper towels for. Right here, always, because I make messes. So the first thing that you're going to need for this experiment is actually a dish that has some depth to it. Okay, so this is a dish that has some depth to it. You can use a great big bowl or a baking dish like this, whatever you happen to have. A pie tin that's the deeper kind, that might work. So whatever you have on hand. You also are going to need some play sand, or like I said, if you have access to dirt, heck, if you have a big backyard, ask your parents, dig up some dirt. That might work as well for this experiment. I know it would work well for this experiment, but I have some play sand. You are also going to need some sugar, okay? So if you can spare it, we are going to need some sugar. And you're going to need water. I have a pitcher of water here. And I have a scoop for my sugar and my sand. And you'll need some toilet paper tubes or paper towel tubes. And how many you need just depends on how many sinkholes you want to create. So yeah, so this is the first part of the experiment, and let's go through those steps first. All right, so the first thing you want to do with this experiment is take your paper towel tubes. I happen to have 4 of them, and you're going to place them in the dish wherever you think you want to put a sinkhole. So I'm just going to make it as flat as possible. I'm just going to randomly stick them in here, maybe like so, maybe like so. Okay, they're just randomly stuck in there, and then you're going to take your scoop, if you have an actual scoop, that's cool, or use a cup like I'm using, and you're going to scoop the sand around these. So you want to be really sure that, make sure that maybe you have somebody else hold these still while you go around with the sand. Don't put sand in the tubes. That's where the sugar's going to go. But put sand around, and you'll want to fill it to probably 3/4 of the way. Probably leave about 1/2 inch or so at the top of the dish. So I'm going to go ahead and stand up and do that. And I don't have somebody to help me, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour some sand in here. And this sand represents the normal soil and layers of earth that are underground that we might build houses on and build buildings and skyscrapers and build our roads. I think the cup works out really well because I can kind of like squeeze it like that and get in the smaller places with it. It's really adaptable, whereas a scoop might not be as adaptable to, or as flexible, I should say. Here we go. I think we're getting there. Just a little bit more, I think. And depending on the size of your dish, you'll need a different amount of sand or dirt. You know, obviously, if you use a smaller dish, you'll use less. All right, I think I'm just going to give this a little shake to even out the sand. I think I'm going to put a little bit more in here. I'm seeing that it needs just a little more. If you just give it a twist and a shake, it sort of levels out all those bumps in the sand. A little bit of that. Okay. And you see I've left a little bit of space here. So I think that maybe I'll put just a tiny bit more around here. Around here. I want to make sure this experiment works. So I'm just going to make sure I've covered all my bases. We're covered with sand. Okay. All right. So you see I've left a little bit of space. These are standing quite firmly, actually, in the sand. Sand is really good for if you've ever made a sand castle. Yeah, grains of sand go together. Okay, now I have my sugar. Now, you can try to flex this as much as you can to get the sugar in these holes. Or if you have a funnel, go ahead and get your funnel and you can put the funnel over top of these and put sugar in. And you want the sugar to come up to the level of just below your level of sand. Okay, so just below that. So I'm gonna pour this sugar in my, oh, I think I have a lump. I have a lump. No! That's okay, we'll work it. We'll work it, get that lump out of the way. Sometimes sugar gets lumps in it. Oh, I don't think I can reach the lump. That's okay. That's okay, because then we have a plan B, right? If you really can't get that lump of sugar out, go back and try it again. Oh, that was the first thing that fell in there was a lump. Well, you know what? It's sort of like experimenting with sugar. Here we go. I'm going to try it this way. And I'm just going to be careful. If you get a little bit of sugar in your sand, it's really not that big of a deal. Oh. And I put too much. Well, what can you do? I'm gonna, let's see. I really need to look down that hole. In this case, it's probably best not to use a funnel, actually. Because the funnel might actually obscure your view of what's going down inside the hole. See, that's what science is. It's all about experimenting and see what works best. and what the result is. I think a little bit more, and then that's that for that one. Oh, here we go. I think we've got it in there. And once you have your sugar inside of here and it's just below the sand level, you're going to take the paper towel tubes out. So I know I went a little too much on some of the sugar. I went a little too much here. So, but that's okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to spoon that out onto, well, into my cup. I'll spoon some of that off of the surface just to clean it up a little bit. Here we go. Just makes it a little cleaner, that's all. Okay, I'm going to smooth everything out. And then I'm going to put a little bit more sand over the top, okay? Because you don't want to see where your sinkholes were, because that's where the game part of this comes in. There's a game called Roulette, and it's sort of a game of chance. And so this experiment is called Sinkhole Roulette because, here we go. You can't see where my sinkholes were, can you? Nope, can't see them. Now on to the really fun part. For this next part, you're going to need some Legos. A lot of you do have Legos at home. If you don't have Legos, that's okay. Find little things. Do you have little toys like little cars or little people or something? Do you have building blocks? Do you have, you know, you can find anything in your kitchen, maybe spoons. Your imagination is probably better than mine. So go ahead and find some little things that we're going to place on our dish. Now, for mine, I created some little buildings. I know it's not as great as some of the creations you guys come up with, I know, but this is hopefully going to demonstrate this this experiment. So I'm going to build my little city. And I've built, oh, look, a high-rise right here. Oh, maybe there's a high-rise not too far from it, right about here. Or, oh, no city's complete without a park, right? Do you guys get out and go to the park? I hope you do. I go to the park almost every day. So we're going to put the park, let's see, right about here. How about that? And, oh, here's another building. Let's place that in here, or... there's another one. We'll put that one right near this one. Oh, I have another building. I'm gonna stick it, oh, how about right down here? And I have a bunch of, I'm gonna call these warehouses. You can even use game pieces. If you have Monopoly at home, there you go. You've already got some homes and whatnot for Monopoly. I have Horseopoly at home. Let's see, I'm just going to place some of these blocks here. And these are just representing homes or businesses. Okay, so I have my city created here. Now is the game part, okay? This is where the Sinkhole Roulette comes in, because sometimes buildings and homes are built on top of land that might not be as stable as people think they are. And that's where sinkholes happen, if the conditions are right. Yeah, so we'll explain about sinkholes later. Right now, you need your water, and you also need, it's ideal if you have one of those watering cans that has the multiple holes to make it rain on your city. If you don't have that, I don't have that, I'm improvising. I have a paper cup that I punched holes in the bottom of. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to rain on my city. Yep, this is all going to get wet. So let me pick this up, and I'm going to pour the water through my cup and onto my city. Okay? So it's just going to rain. It rains kind of fast. Oop, I got to make sure I'm stopping the pitcher. It can be a little heavy. I think I put a little too much water in here. And it's gonna rain on your city. Try not to wash away your sand. That's really the reason why you want to use something like this that's not really gonna wash away your sand. Okay. There we go. Again, like I said, messy. You might want to do this experiment outside. You know. So now we're going to give it a few minutes and let the water seep in. And then we're going to see what our city looks like. Take a look at my city. It's very different than how I set it up. This is my park. Look at the angle of that tree. I think my park is done for. It fell into a sinkhole. And look at this red building up front here. That totally fell in. I'll call that a warehouse. That fell down into a sinkhole. That warehouse is no more. And look at the angle of this high rise I have back here. That's crazy. If that was real, it would be completely destroyed. As well as this one here. This one really fell into a sinkhole. It's halfway in there. And I watched that one go down too. It sort of just went and it made kind of a bloop sound. It was really cool. Now, what is the science behind this? Why do these things fall into sinkholes? Well, I have a handy chart that shows you basically how sinkholes work. And this chart I found online from Advanced Geosciences, Inc. And it has the best illustration, I think, to show you how they form. Basically, you have layers of different rocks, right? Some rocks are softer than others. Some soils are softer than others. And when rainwater comes down, it seeps all the way into all these layers. And if some of these layers are of the softer material, like limestone, for example, the slightly acidic rainwater eats away at that softer rock and dissolves it away. And as it dissolves it away, an opening is left behind. Because remember, that softer rock was surrounded by harder rock. That harder rock is still there, but the softer rock has basically dissolved away, leaving these cavities. And over time, as more water comes in, that continues to erode and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you get something like this. And this is where you get caves. Okay, when it's underground, but you can't see it from above ground, it's a cave. And I've been in plenty of caves. And let me tell you, if you haven't been to Mammoth Cave National Park, really cool. I've taken every cave tour that they have there, including the wild cave tour, and I've taken that twice, and that's where you crawl on your hands and knees and slither through the... Oh my goodness. I know, it's not for the claustrophobic, but it's a lot of fun. So the bigger the opening is, then you get a cave. Then you get a sinkhole when the ground on top can't be supported. When this hole can't support the ground above it anymore, then the ground above it falls in. And that is a sinkhole. So water comes down, continues to erode these little cavities, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, forming caves. And then at some point, the cave can't support the weight of the ground above, and then it just falls in. Yeah, that's how this whole process works. And in our experiment, the sugar acted as the softer rocks, the limestone that gets eroded away. Because sugar dissolves in water, sand does not. So sand acted like our normal rock, and the sugar acted like our soft, erodible, dissolvable rock. So, and when those openings opened up, there went our buildings. And my poor park. So I hope it worked the same for you. I hope you try this experiment if you haven't. Do it outside. I already made a mess in here. I'm going to need to get the vacuum cleaner because I spilled sand and sugar on the carpet. So, and it's one of those things. You just have to clean up after yourself. No big deal. Science is fun. It's worth it. So, again, this experiment was called Sinkhole Roulette. And it was featured in, got sand on the book, in this book, 114 Science Experiments Guaranteed to Gross You Out by Joy Masoff. You can find this book, just like a whole lot of others, at the library. You can go on our website, we247.org, or we247.org, as I like to say. You can use our curbside service. You can come in the building and browse, or you can call us on the phone, however you'd like to reach us. And don't forget to check out our upcoming programming. We have a lot more programming coming up. Check out our website, we247.org, and hopefully we will see you soon. And in the meantime, do not ever forget that you don't have to be a scientist to do science. You just have to be curious. Take care.